I saw Republican Ted Cruz talk about the huge human trafficking that's taking place at the border with people that are sold in slaveries for the cartels. I also saw videos on Twitter, horrible, with the drug epidemic that's taking place in California. I'm assured that this is going to be tackled soon because the feds are coming for the extremists, right? Like they realize that most of these transactions probably take place in Baldur's Gate 3 and The Last of Us, and they're finally going to tackle on it. I wonder how it's like to be a police officer, right? Like imagine you're walking into the office of some inspector and they're playing Baldur's Gate. And it's like, what are you doing? Got it you on your working hours? Yes, but I am catching criminals. So, all jokes aside, it does seem that certain companies that we already know, like Discord or Reddit, Valve, and many others are already working with the government. I wonder if this is official. Like, do they require any type of court notice? Like, right? Like, do they need a judge to sign up on listening to people? How does it work? I mean, we don't know. The process is mysterious. The government works in mysterious ways nowadays. But what's interesting is that there are a couple of game companies that want to remain anonymous. And The Intercept tried reaching for them, but none of these companies tried to respond. And I generally don't understand why. I mean, you're doing such a pivotal and monumental contribution for mankind. You know, you're ratting your customers out to the feds. This is your civic duty. This is patriotism. Why don't you want your name to be public? It's very interesting, right? Level of omoshiroi. It's like they're doing something, but they don't want the public to know. Why not? Do you think it's bad? Do you think it's evil? Like, what's the problem? Honestly, though, what I find very interesting is that if this was legitimately the case, right? Like, if extremists were using The Witcher in order to communicate with each other and plan extremism, then isn't announcing that you're actually targeting these video games going to make them stop doing that? And I don't know, like talk about their extremism in the real world or via the phone or via the mail. Like, unironically, I do believe that writing right now, like writing an actual letter to a person is probably the safest form of communication compared to everyone else. Like, I got subscribers which work in the financial institutions like Wall Street and banks, and they tell me that when they go into a meeting, they are asked to leave their phones outside. Like this is the level we're in. Like literal Soviet Union bullshit with wiretapping phones and stuff, and it's the private companies that are doing it. But notice it's not they're doing it because they want to. They're doing it is because the government asks them to do it. So like, why is this a problem? Well, it's a problem for several reasons. Like, number one, when you're telling a company, hey, harvest private data from citizens, which is basically using AI and other type of software in order to gather the data, the idea that the companies are only going to give it to the government is ridiculous. They're going to harvest all of your privacy and sell it to a third party in exchange for cash. That's what they're going to do with it. So they're going to enrich themselves based on your existence while selling you another $90 game if you buy the deluxe edition in order to play 1 week early, right? So they're basically empowering companies in order to be more invasive, in order to install more spyware on your computer. And before it would be like the company may be afraid, well, you know, we would step out of a line. Now it's like, well, we can't get sued because the government is asking us for it. So there's that. The second thing is like, do you honestly believe that the companies are this secure? Like, what happens when one of these companies gets hacked? And all of your private information, your two-factor authentication, all this other shit gets sent into the hands of a third party. And the answer is most people don't give a fuck. Most people don't really care. Now, the way it worked in the Soviet Union, and the way it worked in Nazi Germany, and the way it worked in fascist Italy, and probably the way it works under the Chinese system, is that the government tries to harvest as much data as possible from people. Now they didn't have this level of technology back then, so they basically used informants. And obviously you don't have the manpower to actually read and go through everyone's file. So what you do is when a person manages to end up in an important position like a CEO or a judge, they get a phone call. And they're going to be like, okay, so we need you to do this for us. And if you don't do it, well, we have certain logs from you back in the day when you were on OnlyFans showing your titties to the public, and you think that the internet forgot, but no, we still have the image and we can send it to the press. We still have your controversial takes from 9 years ago. We know that your dad said the N-word on radio. You think it's ridiculous, but there was a guy that actually lost sponsorship because of that, because before he was born, his dad did say the N-word on a radio. And that's how blackmail works under these totalitarian regimes. Like, they don't look at your file until they need to. And all of a sudden, you get this anonymous phone call. And it's like, yeah, we know what you said when you played Dota 12 years ago. We know your controversial opinions. And they can also use it when you apply for a position. So, for instance, you want to be a doctor. You know what? You want to run for office like Kerry Lake. Kerry Lake was asked to step down. Now, if they had information on her, they would have asked in a different way. And that's pretty much why this is concerning. Unfortunately, most Americans aren't that concerned. I mean, I'm pretty sure the people on this channel are concerned, but the overwhelming public isn't. This is being pushed by the Democrats and the ADL. Interestingly enough, the organization that thinks that milk is racist and the OK sign is problematic and Pepe the Frog is a racist symbol, yes. This is the organization that is pushing for regulation in video games. And right now they're pushing for Valve to do it. Again, the indie games don't have to regulate, but it's going to be to the point where if you make an indie game and you're using one of these public platforms, like whether you're using Steam or you're using Unity or you're using Unreal, like one of the available engines for the public, you're automatically the engine is going to be the one that harvests data. And you as a game developer, you don't have the luxury of making your own engine because it's going to be incredibly expensive. It's not going to be as good as the others. So this is how the online space is going to be more and more invaded by the day. And then, it's going to, if they're going to manage to connect this with a cashless society, well, you're going to have the same thing that already exists in China. They don't have to create anything new, they just have to copy things that are already made. So let me know what you guys think, and if you want to support the channel, then scroll down to the pinned comment. I have some links over there that takes you to my Subscribe Star or my Patreon, and I would very much appreciate any type of support that you guys can give. And in return, I will give you the best buyer's remorse on the internet. So I'll see you guys later. Take care.